Trim Healthy Wisdom, this new book of ours that Serena and I wrote for 3 years, and now it's out.
What on earth is this Trim Healthy Wisdom about?
We get in these questions. Is it just for menopausal women, or is it just about hormones or peptide therapy, or what about this one? What if I'm a crunchy mama and I've already been following you for 10 years? Is there something in there for me?
Well, let's dig in and tell you what it's about. It's over 1,000 pages, and I'm telling you, we get into the nitty-gritties. If you're in your 40s, your 50s or 60s or even older, it's for you to live the fullest. It's how to rock 40 and beyond. And if you're reading sooner, well, good for you, because it's best to come in ahead of the curve.
Yeah, if you're in your 30s or 20s, there's so much to learn about in this book. The largest part of this book is actually about food and food as medicine, and which foods to use in your hormonal seasons that are challenging, no matter which season you're in. We don't want to just tell you how to eat and then not equip you with the practicality. So with this book, you will get 150 free new recipes that Serena and I are enjoying in our own lives.
And a main focus of the book too is not about losing weight, because a lot of that can end up be losing muscle at the same time. We really focus on the very exciting journey about how to become a burning body.
And that means losing fat, not weight. It doesn't necessarily mean losing weight, but that will naturally happen if it needs to. It's all about, Serene, the true way to heal insulin resistance. And we do that with a particular method.
And it's not a die-hard Spartan method. It's actually just enjoyable, simple hacks that are easy to put in place in your everyday.
Yeah, so what about the science? We cite hundreds of studies throughout this book, but it's not so brainy that you can't handle it. We break it down, we give summaries, and I've heard from earlier readers that they find it easy to understand.
And of course, we're digging into the hormones. It's one of our favorite little pet subjects. We go very deep on this topic, but it is the biggest heart cry we've been hearing from women. Oh my goodness, Pearl and Serene, help me find help that I can trust
For hormones.
You're going to learn the tools for that and how to optimize your hormones to feel fantastic if you so desire.
And if you don't desire that, what you'll need to focus on more diligently, because hormones protect your brain, your bones, and your heart. So if you're not going to do that, we're going to show you what to do instead.
And your breasts. Don't forget our wonderful breasts. We have a bonus chapter that we're not really meant to talk to you about. Passion
in marriage.
But you didn't hear us say that. You did not hear us say that at all. We touch on spiritual health, mental health, beauty hacks.
Skin. It's a big one.
Personal tips and tricks.
And protein. But our take on protein is different. It's not just, hey, eat all the protein that you can. It's a very wise approach to protein.
Yeah, wise and simple. Even though it's over 1,000 pages, it's actually 7 books in one. We wanted to put it all in one fat book so that you get the whole picture. Because all of these different points, they layer upon layer and build strength and health into your life. You need all of the principles, not just 1 or 2. Because what happens if you skip a book? We don't want that. It's all bound into one.
This book is designed to give you hope. It is designed to break the chains of inflammation and the feeling of stuck, and just freedom for your future so that you can live your most vital life as you go on in years.
So you're going to learn how to recover your metabolism safely and soundly.
Hey, so listen to the book or get the hard copy and start underlining, or just get the e-copy, or just read the summaries. We don't care, but get this information because it's going to affect the rest of your life. So just go to store.trimhealthymama and find the Trim Healthy Wisdom book bundles.
This is The Party with Serene
and Pearl.
Get it right, Poddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, 'tis the season. I'm feeling crisp and Christmassy today. And
however, when they get this, it's well past Christmas. So nicely done.
Merry freaking 2025! It's a new year. Wow, what are your goals? No, not really. Hey,
is this going to be in the new year, or is this going to be like by March?
This is mid-Jan.
Mid-Jan. Okay, great.
It's the summer.
Hey, in mid-Jan, I still have my Christmas tree up, so it'd be fine by me.
I come in with like goggles and a snorkel. Like, happy summer. We should be very, what's that called when you're in the moment? You're contextual.
Well, you came in with the right vibe because you came in with summer, like Mexican holiday pants and shoes.
Do you like my vibe?
They are white pants for those of you sadly not
Three-quarter
watching
pants.
us on audio. They're white, and Danny is choosing to disobey the white after Labor Day.
It feels crisp. It reminds me of snow. I think white stretchy pants are not only comfortable.
Is there a thing you don't do white after Labor Day?
It is kind of a thing. White
I
pants.
never had known that.
That's ridiculous.
Anyway,
Hey.
we've got meat probably.
Yeah, but I figured something out. I figured out how to get fat.
And that would be
You
This is a desired thing for the Dan.
yeah, but in this case, it's not. I don't think it's good. You tell your brain that it's the holidays and now you're quite busy, so you get real busy, and then you get angry. Okay, you get angry and you get emotional.
You get angry because you're busy, and then you get emotional because you're angry.
You're angry because you're so busy and it's so stressful and you've got so much responsibility, and you get angry and you get sad because your emotional needs aren't getting met, and then you don't have time to eat correctly, and so you tell yourself that, this is God's will
to eat.
Yeah,
crap.
You don't do any of this consciously. You keep this down deep.
Yeah.
But this is how I get fat. And it may not look like it. You might say, no, Danny.
No, that's why you're wearing the baggy shirt? Have you gained some
Look what
pounds around
happens.
the middle?
Let's show the
Okay,
people.
but I thought that you were working out. Ooh, okay. No, I would say, ooh. Well, anyone can do that if you try.
Yeah, 3-year-olds.
But I used to not be able to.
But do you want Mrs. V to see that? Do you want her to watch this video back, Lisa? And do you want her to see you doing that and scratching it?
You ever notice when you're fat, you're itchy too?
I just want to know before we get into the meat, because I've got meat for the new year, right?
I've got meat with you.
Yeah, you got meat.
This is a joined effort.
It's so true. It's just that with my idea of meat. Do you like it? Like with Mrs. V?
Yeah, I do.
Beautiful Mrs. V.
Oh,
Do you like to show her your more hideous side of your body? We can all have presentable sides and all make ourselves look hideous. Every person in this world.
Yeah, if I stand a certain way, it's all downhill.
I mean, like, posture and, looking like this, resting face, or doing what you were doing with your belly and scratching it. Do you show all that to Mrs. V, or do you just show her your macho side, like give her your best?
So I...
stand a certain way whenever she's in the room.
Yeah, I want her to see a superhero.
Right. So do you mind if she rewatches this? Because she does watch our potty.
Oh, like I'll put on a little comical show
Comedy.
for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's just like strutting into the bathroom,
Yeah, you strut.
strutting from the shower, I'm sucking in that gut.
Yep.
I want her to see her, even if she doesn't realize it, her unspoken dreams come true.
I know. Because I have if my husband's in the room, I could be like all slouching and whatever he walks in, I find myself adjusting myself to certain ways that I think look just more better. And all
me
that.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I find he does it to me too.
Yeah.
Because if I walk in the bathroom, he'll be like looking at himself like that, and I walk in and he straightens up and he puffs up his chest. And
Do you compliment him are you like, ooh?
Yeah, especially now that I've got some, a really good stuff to compliment. He's been in the gym like that.
He's been
That
on
is a really amazing. And I don't know, I've said this before, and I was like amazed when my husband first started working out here, and I said this last year, 30 years, never did. Now he's doing it, and he's so, I don't know, he's really responding. He's got the bod now.
Come on.
I love it.
Hey, for those men listening, let me, in case you're wondering, maybe women aren't visually stimulated.
I am.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, incorrect. Your wife wants you ripped.
But guess what? It's not just about, because I have loved as he's loved me in all states of myself. He has loved me.
Of course.
And I've loved him in all states of himself, no matter what state I've found him physically attractive, because he is my man.
Right. And I would agree.
I do love his muscles now, just they're icing, and I am visually stimulated by them, but I've also got high hormones. But I look at it as longevity, and so it gives me this feeling of, oh, my man is going to be around longer.
No, it gets into the ladies like fight or flight survival,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
ancient wiring. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To where there's a strength shown,
Yep.
like you said, longevity. Oh, I'm good. I'm safe. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
And I feel more taken care of. I feel like since he's taken care of himself, and he is so like, he's man about the home, like every chance he gets, he's trying to lift up that garbage out of the garbage can and show me and take it out.
Well, and you're in less pain, like as a man, even stuff like that, like the garbage.
Yeah.
Like the garbage is freaking heavy at my house. It's heavy. We got 4 kids, and it's just always like someone has already, every time I walk through the kitchen, it's as if it has been compacted for like years.
Yes.
And
How
I'm
do we
picking
make
up
this much garbage?
I know, and so I'm picking that up, and I do notice a total difference since I've started lifting weights. Is that just little tasks like that? I'm not like leaning with my back and like holding
Yeah.
trash on my body.
Right.
I'm like one-handing it out, grabbing the other thing, and just marching out. Little things like that.
And it's also,
Helps.
you said, you physically can see, oh, my man's going to be around, because muscle is our longevity organs. And you know that scientifically. So you're like, yeah, we've got definitely some good years left, you know, accidents can happen, but you're like, no, there's a sense of security there. But it's also mental, I feel like, because when my man started working out too, he didn't feel old anymore. So he didn't do the old man jokes or the, okay, well, we're kind of
Yeah.
over the hill now kind of thing. Those are all things of the past. Now it's all like, where's the adventure? What challenge can I
100%.
face?
Even like the noises when getting off the
Yeah.
couch. It's not like, oh God, let me get in here and like when I was young, I never made a noise. I kicked off, that side kicked off the couch,
yes.
like you would like pop up and run and do stuff. And yeah, I actually noticed before I was working out, little things, just like getting out of a car and stuff. I would just make the death knell. It's like, and I was sounding like that old guy, and it was almost like I thought it was endearing to others. Yeah. Like my kids are like, there's dad really giving a lot for the
Giving a lot
fam.
just to live and get out of
Yeah,
car.
you just can't even stand anymore. Look how much the old soldier is provided.
It's so true. Men think that it's somehow great. It's
It
somehow
is.
not.
They think it's great, and it's somehow
Somehow
not.
not.
Everybody, their women are like, he's gonna die.
Yeah, that's what it feels
He's dying.
like. I know.
Why is my woman turning off these days?
He's dying.
Because she's concerned. She's living in fear of your death because
Oh
of
my
your
goodness.
noise.
It does. It's some sort of ancient thing within a woman to just feel like your man's going to be there taking care of you and strong and good.
I used to think
It's
it was
just-
like
it speaks to me.
the evolutionists were trying to brainwash us. Like, you got this like survival part of your brain still. And I would be like, nah, we're not that. We don't have any of that physiological, just autopilot stuff. And it's like, no, you totally do.
Yeah, well, hey, I do. Speaking of this, I've got an NSV about this. Well, Serene just has gotten back from New Zealand. She went on a trip. My daughter went. Like 14 of
That's
us.
why I can do his white pants right now, because it was Christmas time, like almost Christmas. We just got back. And right now, what are we? We're like 4 days before Christmas kind of thing as we're recording.
Yeah.
As we're recording. It's not going to air till the new year. But anyway, your white pants, I can dig it. Summer Christmas over there.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's at the beach getting a suntan.
Yeah, so while they went there and we just finished our book and it was all done, so I'm like, Serene's not here, no meeting. So my husband and I, of course, what do? We got on a cruise. It's what we do. We have free cruises. So
why do you have free cruises?
Yeah, I was right there with you. I was.
So just so people know.
we have free cruises. Well, some people will hate me for this, but my husband plays slots. The penny
he's a
slots.
gambler.
Yeah. He just has a certain amount of money he takes, a few $100, and that's his money.
Where does he do
And
slot? You're talking about down
on
at
the casino.
He goes to the
Yeah.
casino and
In
pulls
on
the
a
slots.
ship. He
Okay.
likes that, and so
Yeah, we
they
just
want you
lost
to come
about
back
500 listeners.
and lose your money. I
Yeah.
don't play them. That's not my thing, but he likes to do it, and so they want you to come back. They will give you a free room. So, if you lose money with them, you get a free room. It's a bad room,
Makes
but
sense
it's a
to-
room.
makes sense
you
to
got
me.
free food. You go to some beautiful place. So yeah, we've had a lot of free cruises. But anyway,
I thought there was going to be like some really amazing story.
No, my
like
NSV is coming.
No, just like the why you got free cruises.
Yeah.
I thought it would be like because you have a certain card, you shop at
No,
such
we
and
do.
such.
We
Yeah,
used to
yeah.
have free
air miles or free cruises.
No,
I don't
that's
know.
true. We used to have free cruises because of the what are they called? Those
Share-a-thons?
share
Timeshares.
Timeshares.
We've got some of those too. We've been on literally probably 20 free
So you need to lose at gambling to get free cruises.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway,
wait. What if you win? You still get free cruises?
You usually, I don't know. I think we've had one cruise where he's come away, with something that he's won.
So it's more about the fun.
Yeah, he only takes a couple of $100.
Yeah, he takes a few hundred.
It's like, I'm going to lose today.
He knows.
Just so he can get a new free cruise.
What's
And
the
there's always
psychology
the
of
thought
this?
that you're going to win 12,000 because someone does.
It's the carrot.
Yeah,
on
you're going
the
to win
stick.
100,000. Somebody wins it. I don't know. But anyway, so
Interesting.
he doesn't gamble outside of that. It's his little thing. So all right, so the NSV is, he decided after 30 years of marriage to start working out. And we went on a cruise, and I went in there the first day. I'm like, "Oh, honey, I'm going to go into the gym because that's what I do." But there's two parts of this NSV, so I'll tell you my part first. So you guys have followed my story. Those of you that are listening, 2 years ago, I realized I had lost
She's skinny fat.
muscle mass. I had lost my hormones. I did this big change around. I started lifting, and Danny, we've talked. I felt like an imposter. Serene was the one who loved exercise. She is taking care of her lean body mass and strength trained for many years now. Whereas I would always work out, but it would never be with weights. I would love to walk. I would do my cardio. I'd do little toning exercises, and that was me. Well, it didn't work to retain my lean body mass. I lost my lean body mass. So I'm like, I'm going to have to lift weights. So 2 years ago, I started lifting weights. The worst form in the world, probably the lightest skin, ridiculous weights in the world.
Just felt pathetic.
I'm pathetic, hurt
Were you
afterwards
injuring
so
yourself
bad,
too?
out of commission for a month because I pulled a muscle.
Yes.
I mean, just look at myself in the mirror and think, you imposter, you weren't even made for this. What's wrong with you? You have the wrong body type. You're not going up in weights fast enough. All these thoughts, but I just kept at it like, no, I'm going to do it. Slowly, I made gains. But still, even when we went on our last cruise together, Serene, we went to the Panama Canal earlier this year, like a year ago.
The time that old guy tried to hit on you?
Yeah, that time.
This old Barney Fife came right next to her, and he was like,
Wanted to show her.
like trying to show how he could lift his body.
He's trying to trigger that ancient survival mechanism in you.
I already had a husband, but my husband wasn't in the gym, see, so he thought he'd come in there.
He's old enough to know that psychology.
I know. But anyway, I remember going to the gym with you on the cruise, Serene, and just after 25 minutes, just walking out thinking, I will never be that. I still felt like an imposter. Like when I walked into a gym, I wasn't supposed to be there. I couldn't I couldn't lift very well. I felt like my form was rotten. I felt like I was out of place. I still felt committed, but I just felt like I'm not the one that should be there or is worthy to be there or will ever make sense in a gym. If people look at me like, that doesn't make sense, her. Yeah. But I went there this time, and I went there, and I got there the first day and thought, I'm just going to go check it out, So I went in there, didn't have a routine in mind, but I grabbed some weights, and they were heavy, and I just started doing some sets. And I'm like, well, this is coming pretty easy, And I saw the mirror there, and I was lifting. My form was pretty good. I'm like, I kind of knew what to do. I saw another weight, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do some RDLs. Okay, this and that. And I realized I felt like I belonged. It was the sense of, you're here and you should be here. You know what you're doing. You feel good. Your form's not perfect, but it's pretty well done. And some woman came in and she looked like she's just starting, and I felt like I should help her. I just felt like, oh, I could help that lady. It was the best feeling, like
you were the boss.
Yeah, I wasn't Serene, but I was just so far from where that Pearl was 2 years ago. I was like a different woman. I could see my gains. I didn't look puny. I mean, I'm still not big and buff, but I could look at my definition. I'm like, bro, persistence pays off.
And you didn't need to have a little video or whatever, like a little
No.
app on the phone. You knew how to form a little workout
I was doing
for yourself.
my own routine on the
Yeah.
fly, like I've seen you do. And I always wondered how you would do that. And it was just coming to me. It was like by the Spirit. It was like, I just know how to do this. It's what? It was mind blowing. And then, go back to the room. I was like, yeah. And so then next day, my husband's like, let's go to the gym. Like, we've been on all these cruises, never said that in his life. I'm like the
He'd
widow
usually
at the
go
gym.
and eat peanuts and watch
Yeah.
the
So
view.
you two went to the gym
Yeah,
together.
I'm going back with him, and I did a really light routine, and I did an arm one and I definitely didn't want to show him off. I'm really like, honey, you're so strong.
Lifting more than your
job."
husband, yeah.
I didn't want to do that, but I actually can't. But it was amazing. I just looked at these things like, and if you're listening right now, I'm not saying all this to show off, to say my life's wonderful. I'm saying that never say never, because I never ever thought my husband would join me in some of these things ever, and here he is doing it.
I thought you had a special glow today.
Yeah, I
was like, Pearl is beaming, and it's because Charles joined you in the gym.
It is, and I just feel like I'm so grateful, and I want to celebrate these things when they happen. And
Because I remember talking you through a special little season in your marriage, if you don't mind me talking about. You
sure.
came back from one holiday and you're like,
oh yeah,
I just don't know what to do because I want to go on a hike.
yeah.
And I wanted, and this is when you were all into cardio kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like, I went on this hike and I'm a hiker. Like that's
Yeah.
who I am. That's who I am as a woman. That's my hobby. That's what I do. My husband, he didn't even want to walk 5 minutes of the journey. How can I be married
He sat there doing
to somebody who does nothing when I'm a hiker? And we talked through that. But now, beyond hiking, your husband's in there
I don't
lifting
think
the iron.
he still probably wouldn't want to go a hike with me. But
No.
I realized at the time, I can't force him into things. And he sat there doing his crossword puzzles, waiting for me to go on a hike. And I went by myself. And he's like, okay, let's go, And I felt like in a way, the deception said to me, you married the wrong person. You should be married to someone who has similar interests
Compatible.
to you. You hike together, and then you both sip on wine while you both create the healthy meal. It's like that little vision of ridiculousness.
Yeah. We call it delusions of grandeur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a lie. My husband is just the most incredible man, whether he goes to the gym with me or not, whether he hikes or not.
Yes.
He is amazing, and I'm grateful for him every day. But the fact is that...
And we talked about how much more amazing he was for
Serene
her.
talked me through that, and I got rid of that deception real quick. And I'm just like, back to, no, man, you're my man, and I love you, and I'm so grateful. But... How amazing. Don't tell yourself miracles don't happen. Don't sit there listening thinking that will never be you not feeling like an impostor, or that your loved one will never come around or come back.
And it wasn't from nagging because you tried
no.
that and it got worse.
I had to leave him alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's those opposite things that actually save us.
The opposites. I used to think, because before we were into health, we were musicians. We were signed to a record company and we did the music thing. So my delusion was I have to marry somebody who's into the music. So I love to sing. So I thought I'd marry a pianist and I would lean against the baby grand in my silk nighty.
Oh, yeah.
While he would tinkle the ivories, and well into the night I'd be crooning to his, little piano creativeness.
I see it.
Sit a little wine glass on the corner
yeah.
of the baby grand. This was all in my head.
And he's so artsy.
Oh, Sam can't even play the spoons in time. But I love my man. I'm so glad I married him. And
Well,
I
he
would
saved
not,
you. He saved you from delusion.
Yeah.
He did.
Actually, Lisa says, I told her today through tears how she saved me.
Yeah, she
from
did.
delusion.
Lisa's so good.
I could have been, without her, I could have been a successful drummer.
Yeah.
I could have had the time. I could have worked for free, instead of needing a check. I could have done all the things, 1,000 compromises to get to being a successful touring drummer / living in a bus with men, underpaid, no grandchildren, lonely and old, playing outside of La Hacienda.
Still having your cool dude haircut that's so outdated.
Oh, yeah. Still with my long hair at 55, playing for tips.
For a has-been band.
Yeah, no, at Don Arturo's with the keyboard that plays the little ding ding ba boom ding ding boom, and I would do country covers alone, and then I would cry into my beer on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, you would.
I could have been successful.
Yeah.
I could have had it. I could have had what I wanted, but thankfully someone ruined my life. Because my life was the one that needed to be crucified.
Yeah. Isn't that good?
Yeah,
When we
it's
lay
good.
the stuff down.
Yeah.
When we lay it down, it gets given to us in so much, in sevenfold. And
No, I wanted it more
700-fold.
than anything in the world. All I wanted was to to play on tour with a band. Like in my head, that was my purpose and calling in life. And at the time, I mean, people who aren't interested in that are like, God,
Yeah.
the most pathetic man in the
it's true,
world
yeah.
confesses on a podcast. But I think we all have delusions of grandeur that our spouses save us from, because they're just like, that's disgusting and selfish and doesn't work for me at all, or your kids.
And I'm right.
You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, I must think about that. And I must question my identity.
So good. It's so good to be, steel sharpens steel. Have another someone in your life that rubs off your pointy parts and your ridiculous parts. But I do have some meat, considering this is, the new year, and going along the lines
we
of...
have some meat.
Yeah, we have some meat, Serene, because you definitely were part of this meat. But now that our book is out, it's pre-release, I want to start bringing some things, and I want to bring them in a little more simplicity. And in our book, Trim Healthy Wisdom, we talk about insulin resistance. And I want to bring it really simply here today with Serene's knowledge as well. Just because right now, so many women are discovering that they have insulin resistance. They're being told by their doctor. They see it through blood work, or they see it in their physical body.
And it may not be because they've been eating crappy. It may be because of their age and their decline of hormones.
Yeah, it's no big surprise. If you're sitting here right now listening, wherever you are or watching, if you're probably over the age of 35, don't be shocked, but you probably have insulin resistance. If you're over 40, 50, 60, unless you're doing some things that we're going to talk about today, you got insulin resistance.
Estradiol, E2, is our insulin sensitivity. And so when that goes, our insulin sensitivity goes.
And when your muscle goes, your insulin sensitivity drops. So there are so many things out there right now where everyone's trying to say, hey, reverse insulin resistance. But Serene and I point out in our book that most of it is masking insulin resistance. It's not healing it. And on the surface, it really looks like it's getting better.
Yeah, just take, the low carbing situation, the keto, for example. You remove all of the carbohydrates that are your testers to see if you can handle carbohydrates. You remove them, you're like, this is great. I have no insulin problems. You're not even testing it. You're not even putting it. It's like saying, oh, I'm at peace because you've got no screaming babies around you. Put the screaming babies in the room and see if you can still have your peace. You've got to put the agitators in there, right?
Yeah, because of course your insulin drops like a rock. Everyone's like, well, I don't have insulin resistance anymore. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You've just got no way of marking it.
Yeah.
The other thing is muscle, right? So, well, let's go. Okay, so what are the things that people are saying for insulin resistance? Okay, pull away carbs. The other thing, a big thing, probably the biggest thing out there right now, is to intermittent fast for insulin resistance. It's the biggest. Here you go. Here's your answer. Intermittent fast. And what happens? People think they're healed. People think they're getting better.
By skipping breakfast?
Or
what do you
skipping
mean?
lunch.
Yeah.
It depends. Intermittent fasting usually starts with an 8-16. So usually goes from there to longer hours, more than 16, and it often ends up in one meal a day. It's called OMAD because, you need more and more fasting hours when that window doesn't work as much because, you're
and
losing.
those windows, they close. They don't work as well as you go along.
You're losing lean body mass because fasting out of all the diets in the world depletes your lean body mass more than any other diet.
That's so interesting. When
we have
I'm
the studies in the book.
with working out or at all, even if you're not working out, when I'm not eating like nutrient dense, I just shrivel away.
Yeah.
I feel weak and I'm in pain and it's weird how quick.
That's a man too.
Yeah.
And females
even
have
worse.
an incredible innate need to be fed.
Yeah. So
Not to be abused with food, but to be fed.
So many women, they start not burning fuel and they realize that, well, I have insulin resistance. That means, well, I probably can't eat carbs. And I probably need to fast. So what I'll do is I'll start intermittent fasting, and then on the meals I do eat, I'll pull back the carbs. And what happens? They go get another test from their doctor. Congratulations, your insulin down. Look at your A1C, it's come down.
Stop putting the foods in that need your insulin to rise, and then they also stop putting food at all. So They're really just not even knowing what's going on.
So really, you're
getting
masking
worse,
it.
though.
But what's
You're actually
happening?
not masking. You're masking, and underneath that mask, there's getting there. The situation's getting worse.
Right. So let's talk about why things are getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what the world needs to know. And it really needs to stop. I mean, I hope people share this podcast, because this is what's happening to women. And let's talk about what's happening underneath. Okay? Blood work might look better. And in the end, 2 years down the track, it actually often starts to look worse. And we bring those studies in the book too. But we all have a certain amount of lean body mass. And as we've preached here over and over, after 30, it starts to decline. After 40, it's much faster. And then after 50, it's
And that's
goodbye muscle mass.
while being fed.
Yeah.
Now you take being fed away, like fasting, and that sarcopenia, that muscle wasting, is freight train upon the freight train.
Yeah.
And then you take carbohydrates, which are an anabolic food, and they help actually get the amino acids and get whatever protein you're eating into your muscles. You take that away, then sarcopenia is even more of an issue.
So I will sit here unequivocally and say intermittent fasting and pulling carbs away causes insulin resistance to become so much worse, because what's happening is the muscle is shrinking. And you might be doing your 10,000 steps, and you might be skipping your breakfast and doing 16-8, or you might be doing, 20-4 and all of this. And you think, I'm reversing my insulin resistance. No, you're not. You're dropping your muscle mass.
Yeah.
And muscle mass, lean body mass, is how you heal from insulin resistance. That's the healer. But it's not just that. There's a 3-pronged approach.
Right.
We talk about that in our book. And the way to heal in resistance is 3 things.
And they come in order.
They do.
I mean, you do them at the same time, but there's going to be a certain sequence. And should we start into it? It's clean.
Yep, clean. And then that's 1, clean your muscles. And then 2, fuel your muscles.
And then 3, build your muscles. But you're going to be building it the whole time.
Yeah.
However, they're not going to really come to their incredible build until they've been cleaned up, because that's when
How
you're
do
getting
we-
space inside of the muscle.
How do we
Space.
clean our muscles?
Let's talk about clean. So as people age, not only do their muscles shrink and they become, we get sarcopenia, muscle wastage, we get these microscopic fat droplets all throughout
Steak.
them.
Have you seen the nice marbled steak? That's
Yeah.
the muscle cut, right? Muscle meat.
Yep.
And you've got the striations of fat in them. And that's really what happens to our muscles.
The fat gets kind of infused into the muscle.
Yeah.
And that's considered a bad thing.
It's
Good for steak.
Good for
it's
steak.
less dense, lean muscle tissue.
It's
Yeah.
the sign of insulin resistance. It is insulin resistance.
So these are unhealthy cows.
Yeah, yes, they feed them a certain way because they want the marbling, but they're giving cows insulin resistance. They're giving pork
So these
insulin
are sick
resistance.
cows.
Yeah, and the way they do that, actually, you can speed up the insulin resistance and make your meats less dense. Muscles dense and tough.
Yeah.
You can make
That's why
your
my
muscles-
grass-fed cows from my
Yeah.
property. I mean, you got to turn it into mincemeat or really put it in the crock pot, man.
Because they're healthy
It's so
cows.
dense and lean.
You can make your muscle much softer with fat. How do you make a muscle softer? Put fat in there, right?
Yeah.
Nice cut of steak is soft and tender. It's got fat. So the way you do that, this is what they do to the animals. They pull back on their protein. So a protein, but we'll get to that. But
that's
so
sad.
how does this happen? Well, it happens with age, but it happens with lack of protein, and it happens as just part of life, right? The fat starts to seep into the
Accumulate.
muscle, accumulate. Well, how do you clean it?
How
We
do you
spend a
clean
lot of
it?
time studying this.
This is important. I'm feeling the importance.
So plants clean it up. So basically, we want that grass-fed. We want to become grass-fed steak ourselves. Yeah. We need to
want
eat the greens.
Okay, so that we found these studies. Serena and I were
Plants.
like, how the heck do we clean up our muscle? We
That's-
know protein's going to help, but we started studying.
That's
deep.
why we call ourselves meat-eating vegans, because we believe in the protein. You have to eat protein to fuel muscle, to get clean, lean body mass, but you need the plants along with
Yeah,
it.
so they did these studies, and they fed people certain diets, and they fed people more plants than others. And under microscopic imaging, the ones that had a lot of plants coming in, the microscopic droplets of fat, these striations, were able to be cleaned out of the muscle.
And this is more important for us as we age. You know, when you're younger, you can get away with it. Your muscles are just more dense and more lean.
They don't have the fat in them.
Yeah.
So okay, so how do we clean up muscle? We can't just, people are like, oh, we need more protein as we age. Yeah, we do. But you actually need more plants. If you're just doing protein and focusing on all that meat,
You
all
can't,
that
the
animal,
amino acids can't even get in there. There's no room when all the fat's clogging up.
So in our book, we've got 2 chapters on this. It's called Wisdom is Plant Strong. And we go into the why, we go into all the science. So pick that book up for real, because we want you to understand it. We want you to understand the why. But there's a way to do it. There's a way to use plants with protein, and specifically lean protein as you're cleaning the fat out, to clean them up. Now,
You don't really want the fatty protein. You don't want to be eating loads of marbled steak to clean up your muscles.
That can come in later.
Yeah,
once they're
definitely.
Is there a
clean.
way to know the difference? You just look at it?
Well, you can check the fat. I mean, you
Okay.
don't want, like, when you're cleaning up your muscles, of course, we still love our glorious fats in life. But women that have a lot of insulin resistance, while they're cleaning out their muscles, they can't just focus on all the fatty meats all the time. They've got to get some lean in there and let plants do the cleaning work.
It's like 90-10 versus 80-20.
And it's like what Pearl's saying. It doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy a lovely fatty steak again. You're just in a spring clean.
Yeah, spring clean. So plants are going to play a big role while you're getting rid of this insulin resistance. And so let's talk about number 2, right? Fueling.
Oh,
How do you fuel your muscle?
So important. Now, at our older seasons, when we have maybe lost, our anabolic hormones, it's a time when they say we need more protein than we've ever needed before. We need actually 60 grams in a meal. But guess what? We cannot utilize it. Because our muscles still, if they're needing to be cleaned out, they're not quite cleaned out yet. There's no room for that amount of protein. And they're smaller, so they don't have very big cupboard storage space. They can only take a wee bit. So what happens with that leftover protein that the muscles say, I'm chocker full right now. I'm too puny and wee right now. Just wait till I build myself up a little bit before you put 60 grams for me to hefty back in. So what happens? That will end up being stored as fat on your body.
So we like to say, and this is this part of our method in the Trim Healthy Wisdom book, is when you're cleaning yourself out and when you're fueling this muscle, let's go for 25 to 30 grams. It's about what you can utilize. And then, of course, if you want to go more because you're wanting to grow that muscle, we use our optimized proteins because EAAs won't be stored as fat.
They go straight into the muscles.
So our optimized,
especially essential.
Yeah.
Because that is like straight free-form essential amino acids.
You can't have too much of that. Like, you can, if you're in a state of where your muscle is a bit wasted, you have insulin resistance, you can eat too much meat protein for your body size.
At first.
Yeah.
There's going to be, once you have cleaned and you've fueled and then you've built,
it's hard. But
you can, once you're there, well then you have so much more playroom.
But you can't overdo EAAs. They're not going to get stored. So we use them as helpers.
So we always say 25 grams of protein.
Yeah.
And then let's just have a scoop of essential. Sure. Because then we're feeding our bodies like they're getting that 60 grams of protein of meat.
So you're saying 25 grams of
25
meat
to 30
protein.
Animal protein, yeah.
Why add essentials?
Oh, I almost put your foot in your... You don't have to add essential to that, Danny.
Okay.
That's fine.
It's perfectly fine.
But you say you want to speed up your building of your lean muscle tissue because that's your metabolism. Say you want a revving hot metabolism. You want it to take 1 year instead of 3.
Yeah.
You wanted to speed up this process. Then give your body, your muscles more nourishment in the form that they can take when they're still wee and puny.
So the essentials are, it's not too much protein that the body just dispels.
Well, the body doesn't have to deal with it at all. It just goes
uses
straight
it.
in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's part of our method. And then the third one, and this one, guys, it's vital. And it's kind of what I talked about.
Can we talk a little bit more about fueling too?
Sure.
Because in that fueling, carbohydrates.
Let's talk about that.
So necessary because you cannot build lean body tissue adequately without carbs. First of all, they're your energy for the next step, which is building. You need carbs to build.
It's your brain energy, right?
Yes, it's your muscle energy. It's your energy overall. But also you need carbohydrates because you got to shut down the cortisol, because the cortisol is going to stop the building. It's going to thwart it. And the cortisol is also going to tend to put that, more of the fat on the body and the fat back into the muscle tissue.
Women will be told to cut back on carbs right at the very time they need them. And that's the time when their estrogen is lowering. What happens when your estrogen lowers? Well,
get stress.
Cortisol rises because estrogen is your stress-busting hormone, right? So cortisol has to do the entire job by itself. Up it goes. And then when cortisol goes up, your muscles get even punier and you store fat. So women are like, oh my goodness, my A1C goes up. I've got insulin resistance now. I need to cut back on carbs. Wrong.
Yes.
Wrong. You need to clean your muscle. Then you need to fuel your muscle.
And carbohydrates, when they're gentle, we're not talking about the spiking Western society carbohydrates, like the pasta and the white crackers and all of that. I'm not talking about that. But gentle carbs are usually plant foods.
They do that.
They're all plant
trick.
foods, but they're plant foods and they're more whole foods. Yes, they help clean the muscles up.
And they help release incretin hormones, or the sweet potatoes, that fermented fiber. They go in there, release GLP-1. So we're saying, hey, we've got...
And serotonin. They make us happier. When we're happier, we don't feel like we have to emotionally binge eat.
So we've got 2 chapters in the book about the why and the how for carbs. Don't fall into this trap of being low carb as you are fighting off and healing your insulin resistance. Now, when you have insulin resistance, this is a big thing we go into the book as well. At first, you might not be able to shove that white potato in because your muscles can't accept that glucose. They're still puny. They've still got some fat in them. They're still striated. They don't have this big cupboard to open for glucose. So you can be a little careful with them.
Stick to sweet potatoes. Maybe you want to do quinoa instead of the rice.
And we've got so many tips in the books and hacks of how to do it. Put sour with them. Put vinegar. Put kefir.
Because sour lowers your insulin response and your postprandial blood sugar
people
spike.
Say,
it will
I can't
lower
do
it.
Oatmeal anymore. Hey, how about putting fiber with your oatmeal? How about putting kefir with your oatmeal?
Or if you don't want the taste of kefir with your oatmeal, shoot a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar before your meal. Just down the hatch quick, chase it with some water if you want to.
Or we've got something in our book called the Food Piece Preloader that really helps with digestion of carbs too. So they're so important apart from for this fueling part, number 2.
So as we get to number 3, you can see they all go hand in hand because you can't really build unless you've clean and you nourish. You cannot build at 16. You can build because they're not clogged up, and you can build without thinking about these first 2 steps because you don't have clogged up muscle tissue striated with fat, and also you can build muscle on white bread when you're 16-year-old.
A lot of traps that I think even women and some men, Danny, fall into, not so much your issue, but you might have had a little bit of it, is, people think, I got to build muscle now. I've lost some muscle. I'm going to go work out in the gym. They forget about the whole cleaning part. So what they start doing is they find themselves getting thicker because they're adding all of this animal protein in, and then they go to the gym and they're kind of building. But what they're building upon is a fatty muscle. We got to clean the muscle out. It's so important.
Yeah, it is.
So it can be clean, lean muscle mass. We call this CLBM. And it's really a necessary part. You got to start with it with number 1.
Right. So do number 1, do number 2. But the whole time you could be doing number 3. But you can't forget the 2 steps.
How often should you eat plants?
Every day.
Single day.
Every meal?
Well,
and they don't have to be, like for you, Dan, they don't have to be just lettuce leaves. For me, I take a bunch of green supplements because I love my chlorophyll and my green, but I have to have the sweet potato. I have to have the more root vegetable plants because it's just my metabolism.
You will lose too much fat.
Yeah.
But women that need to lose some fat layers,
stick with the broccoli.
They need more of the actual plants
green
rather
plants.
Than the starchy plants.
Yeah.
The non-carb plants.
They need the non-starchy plants as well as some starchy, but they got to have both.
Yeah.
Whereas Serene really can't have too many non-starchies.
Right. And that would be you too.
They fill the plate too much, and you guys then
I get
don't
too
get
full.
enough calories. So
So like we're talking a salad with every meal kind of thing?
Well, no, but
or-
if you
Not with breakfast. And then there's hacks too.
Yeah.
Like Pearl likes a sandwich at lunchtime with a nice healthy carb, like either a sprouted or a sourdough, and she has her protein in it. So she puts a little sauerkraut, fermented veggies on the side because it can be smaller. Because you don't have room for
Yeah.
like a big salad and a big sandwich.
Yeah, you don't always have to have veggies at breakfast like you can, but I'm thinking, I like baobab. That's a plant. That's in
Okay.
powder form. There's greens. I do my lots of plants at nighttime. I have a huge salad, just like you like to do that, Dan, a lot. I love a huge salad at night with some really good protein in it. And I do like to see for people that have insulin resistance, I do like them to, especially at the beginning, this part, really get the plants in there. You need to cleanse. And people say, well, why don't you just do a juice fast? No, you're going to lose muscle mass.
Yes, you are. Because you're not being actually fed.
You need to actually eat these plants.
And also, we as much as we love carbohydrates, we don't like spiking the blood sugar.
No.
And oftentimes juicing, for it to taste good, you put an apple in there or you have a base of carrot or beet. And that's just without the fiber. It's too spiking, especially for muscles that can't open up for much glucose.
So I think we're getting to the end of time now. Let's do number 3, which is build. We forgot to turn the timer on. 43 minutes. Okay, great.
So build, how do you build? Do you build by just doing your little aerobics, favorite video that you've done for the last 10 years?
Do you build by 10,000 steps a day?
Walk
No.
away the pounds.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All of those are fine. But that's
Do you build
not
by
how you
gardening?
build.
No.
Tybo
Yeah, no.
with Billy Blanks.
Do you build by doing your favorite Zumba class with your friends? No. That's all fun.
It's all good. You can still do them.
You
but
watch
you're not
Dirty
gonna build.
Dancing and just sweat.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all great for your brain. It's great for your life. You know what it is? It's self-care. It's phenomenal. Will it build? 0. No. You got to build them back. And the only way to do that
In the
is-
gymnasium.
And when I
With
say
weights.
it's not going to be with little pink Barbie dumbbells, it's not, but
Which I
it
own.
can start there though.
I had
We
to start
don't
there.
despise
Yeah.
the small beginnings because you want to learn form first. You want
true.
to learn so that you don't get yourself out of commission for a month, like Pearl and I have both done.
did it, yeah.
Start with
Remember?
the pink Barbies if
My
you
shoulder.
have to. Start with just your own body weight if you have to. Just do free body weight squats. Then put the little pink Barbie dumbbells. But just know your aim is to keep progressing, so
Yeah.
that in the end you're constantly giving a challenge to your muscles.
My son is professionally training at a university for football.
Yeah.
So it's a specific kind of
Yeah.
training. It's different than most. But I think it's called a something clean. I don't know why it's called a snatch clean
yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
the-
that.
snatch and clean.
Yeah, but they take the bar. They're
Yeah.
standing up.
Yeah.
They bring the bar up to the chest.
Yeah.
And then step forward with one foot and push it up.
Yes.
And it looks impressive. It's like
Yeah.
cool to watch, especially when
Yeah.
somebody's got some weight on there. You're like,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Well, the way they train them though is if they've never done it before,
Yeah.
they do it with only the bar,
Yeah.
Right.
which is soup for a
It's
for a
45
college
pounds
athlete
only.
is
Yeah.
super light. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're just doing literally with the featherest weight possible, the motion. And until they've just mastered that, and it's like silly, and they've done days of that, they'll just add like very lightweight.
Yeah.
And then they build up to that bigger.
I mean, my whole journey for the first long time was just with that Olympic bar. That's 45 pounds. And
The bar is enough.
And for a woman and for
Yeah.
a tall woman that doesn't have a lot of foundation, like wider hips or anything that gives you a little bit more support, that bar was enough for me for a
It throws
while.
you around, doesn't
Well, I
it?
have to say
Yeah.
that to this day, and I was saying how I went in the cruise and got in the gym, I'm still not using a bar. So I don't want anyone here feeling intimidated. I use free weights. I use dumbbells.
So even the bar for you is too heavy.
No, it's not
I
that it's
just
too
don't
heavy.
like
It just scares her
It's
personality.
It doesn't. My personality doesn't like it.
You're just a little weird.
Yeah.
Little
But
weird.
hey, listen, if you're listening here, you've heard us talk about our lifting routines. They're in our member site now.
Yeah.
Serene's got a new course for beginners. You don't know where to start? You start with Serene. She's going to teach you form with the lightest weights.
I've just got like 3-pound dumbbells in my hand. But guess what? Your form is going to be stellar after doing it. But you can also do that same simple workout with 50 pounds in each hand
what?
and get a killer workout.
It's still going to start working on your lean body mass. It's still going to build even your beginner workout.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and,
yeah.
And then all our workouts are in there. We're going to be adding
We don't want
more.
people going straight to weights if they haven't done body weight squats in years.
Yeah.
They need to start with their own body
Body
first.
weight can almost be too much for some people.
Yeah, it's so true. And I feel like with your beginner course, Serene, you were holding the lightest weights. I do like people just holding them because it gets the idea of holding them. Just
That's
light.
true. That's true.
It makes me feel like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, even though there's
And
not
people
much
need
weight
to
in
realize this. They carry their groceries in from the car.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they get the gym and think, oh,
Such
3
a good
pounds,
point.
3 pounds.
Yeah.
But you see them carrying bag and bag and
Yeah.
bag, or a grandchild, or like picking up their dog to like
Yep.
clean up, whatever. They lift heavier in real life just because they don't think it's exercise, and
Yeah.
they get in the gym and get all scared. What? You know?
The flesh doesn't want you in there working out.
Yeah.
My body rebels every time. I've been doing it consistently. I'm not scared anymore. The bar's not intimidating anymore. I'm putting big weights on, and every time without fail, unless my son's with me. If my son's with me, there is no room for compromise.
Yeah, because you have to be the dad,
the
boss.
Yeah, and he's like, if he even sniffs that I'm like I'll talk. You know how you'll get out of work when you're in the gym? Like it's easy to get distracted.
Right.
You're like, oh, I've got to return this email. And it's like right now, it's like it's a secret. The body's sliding out. But I'll talk to him and I'll get philosophical. And he'll be like, Dad, like, you avoiding work? And I'm like, not at all. You know, so but when you're by yourself, it's a real mental game.
I agree with that, and I think that's why Charlie my husband is working out, because he works out with my son Noble, and he loves it. It's
That helped to have a son in there.
Yeah, but I do want to say, having said this, I don't want you guys listening to be intimidated, but it's time. It really is time. You're not going to reverse insulin resistance and have a thriving future unless you do this. And I want to talk about an analogy you gave. I want to repeat it, Serena. It was so good. You know, you come in and you bring your groceries home, just like we talked about, and you put them in the cupboard. So you put your groceries on your countertop, and let's talk about the countertop, or that big space in your kitchen as your bloodstream, right? Mm-hmm. There's a whole bunch of food in your bloodstream, the kitchen. So it's time to put them in the cupboards, and the cupboards are your muscles. That's where your food goes. That's where it's burned. So you go to your cupboard and you open it, but the cupboard has shrunk. It's a very small cupboard now, and it's got all the slime in it, and you can't fit things in. So you try and go put your cans in there, and then you can fit maybe 1 or 2 in, but there's 6 still sitting in your kitchen. That's insulin resistance. You have to clean out your cupboards, and you have to build your cupboards so you can be a burner again.
Yes, and we don't need to think about, losing weight. We don't need to think about, like having to become miserable and skipping meals. All we have to do is, practice being a burner not even every day, a few times a week, practice with the weights, but every day, feed yourself to be a burner, which is fueling your body with these healthy plants to clean it out and to fuel it with energy so you can get in the gym too, plant foods and lean protein. And then once you're a burner, losing fat, because we don't want to lose weight, because sometimes muscle can be the way, but losing fat will take care of itself.
Slowly, hopefully.
And your insulin
Hopefully
resistance will take care of itself. All of that stuff, you're actually thinking about the details that don't matter.
Yeah.
Think about becoming a burner. It can be a new fun hobby. And then all of this, just forget about it. It will take care of itself. And you don't have to be miserable, because becoming a burner is fun.
So fun.
It's so fun. It's a great hobby.
Yeah, and I think, with our book, I keep promoting our book, but the information is in there, and it's a new year, and it's really time to get this.
Guess why?
And we've done the recipes for you. Listen, you can make any of your own recipes. You can take all these wisdom principles we're giving you in the book and apply them to your own SE crossover meals, whatever
I'm making trim healthy recipes.
I saw Denny's in our membership site. We
awesome.
haven't released your series yet,
Oh,
though,
no?
but they're coming.
If a rookie like me can do it,
man.
you
They're
can
so
do it
good.
too.
But we've got a bunch of wisdom recipes that show you how to do it, show you how plants, work. And so I'm excited for everyone, because, we did a survey in our group, and we wanted to know where you're all at, and so many of you still, what do you need from Trim Healthy Mama? And so many of you said, still, there was talks about what have you gained? And there was so much wonderful things. And what do you still need? Still need help with weight loss. And it's still a need, okay? So many of you still feel like, man, I have fat layers that we love fat layers when they're healthy. There's a certain amount of fat women need. But when they're inflammatory and when they are driving down health and driving up inflammation, you don't want them. So we want to help you with this. So the best way to help you with this is
to become a burner.
And
do you know what's great? Because becoming a burner heals. Becoming a burner actually gets rid of the problem. And what makes me so sad is that people are going to miserable lengths, either fasting or cutting out enjoyable food groups. And what's happening? Not only are they masking the situation, but the problem is brewing and becoming more intense underneath that masquerade. And so I'm so excited to give this lifeline of hope that there is a more fun, enjoyable way of actually getting rid of the problem.
Love it.
We're done.